hustle. Every day, all day. This is how.
This is 97.9.
Well, first of all, I'll just start by asking, how are you? How have you been this year and everything? How's it going?
I'm great. I got to say I'm fortunate. I'm blessed. I'm able to do what I do. You know, chess has been thriving in this crazy environment because we can go online and talk chess, play chess. You know, it's easy. It's been an easy transition, and I've been working it out, so I'm happy.
Definitely. Have you seen the show on Netflix, The Queen's
Gambit?
How is that? I haven't watched it.
Well, actually, it's been fantastic from what I hear. I just finished the book this morning, so I'm glad you didn't see it and are not able to spoil it for me because I'm going to start watching it ASAP. But I wanted to finish the book first. I had it for years, and now that the series is killing it left, right, and center, then from what I hear, the chess is real, the drama is real, the intensity is real. Like the whole thing is fantastic. It's number one in the U.S. right now on Netflix, so it's great.
I've been seeing it trending. That's why I'm going to watch it. I didn't even know it was a book. And honestly, I've told myself my whole life I was going to learn how to play chess, and I don't know how to play. You're like, oh my God. Because I feel like I never really had anybody to teach me or like tell me the benefits of it or, you know, why I should learn necessarily. But I have always wanted to learn how to play chess. I have.
I'm hearing excuses. I am not going to hold that against you. Yes, it's easy to learn. There's so many resources online already, by the way. You can go on so many websites. Chess.com is like the most basic website out there. You can easily remember that, right? Chess.com.
Seriously,
and you'll learn everything you need to learn easily. You don't even need anybody to school you.
Okay, well, I can do that, chess.com. That's as simple as it gets. Now, how does it feel for you, though, to become a chess grandmaster? Like, that is obviously way beyond me, but how does that feel for you?
Well, you know, to actually be able to live your dream is something that's special. So growing up in Brooklyn, Brownsville, there were not any chess players around. People were doing everything else other than playing chess. But I had a small cadre of people that I hung with, my friends, and then there was a group of African-American males largely who called themselves the Black Bear School of Chess, and they were super serious about chess. They would be playing in the parks, they'd be playing each other's homes, they'd be studying chess, they'd go to tournaments. And so the fact that I was able to be with that group, they were essentially older than I was, 5 and even as much as almost 20 years older, but they knew I was serious about the game and I was hooked. So they were like, all right, you can come in our group. And they really just wanted to smash me. It wasn't even like they were sitting and schooling me or anything. You had to be serious and bring it. But, you know, I was studious. So I just kept doing it, and having that passion from being a teenager to finally, as a grown person, being able to become a grandmaster finally, that's just unbelievable. You know, that's just living your dream.
What made you become so passionate about chess?
I think the game. It's, you know, I'm competitive already by nature. I come from a competitive family. My brother is a 3-time world champion kickboxer. My sister is a 6-time world champion boxer. So, you know, we're a slightly competitive family. We get into it, you know, and so when I was losing a chess with my friend, it was like, what? This guy can't beat me like that. So I brought out the book, started studying, kept on practice, started playing, started beating him, going to the parks, going to the chess club where the fancy, you know, tailored suit white guys were playing. Started beating them, and it just I had somehow a talent. My mind just worked that way, and I just got better.
So what is it like for you also being the first Black grandmaster?
Well, it's something I'm proud of. It's something that allows me to represent in a different way. You know, the fact that there were none before me, and you know, the people I was looking up to were all these famous chess players from all around the world, but none of them of color. So to do that, it's kind of weird. You know, really, it is kind of strange. Like, what difference does it make if you're Black and you do something? The fact is, we all succeed despite color, gender, ethnicity, religion, you name it. So it is kind of weird for us to single out the intellectual achievements of a person based on their skin color. But at the same time, I recognize that there are a lot of people out there who need to see a role model in a way that inspires them, because often you can't be what you can't see. And so I feel good when I'm able to walk into a classroom and have kids just be like, wow, you know, he's from Brooklyn BK like me, or from Jamaica, you know, Yard Boy. I mean, it's just, it feels good to be able to represent in that way.
I love it. That's awesome too. And when Hennessy pitched you the whole idea of being featured in their 2020 advertising campaign, what was your initial reaction to that?
Well, I was really floored, honestly. First, I was suspicious, frankly. I was like, nah,
Why?
this is not even Hennessy. Well, they lying, because they came to the YouTube contact page. I was like, nah, seriously, Hennessy's hitting me up like this?
Yeah.
And so then I had my agent go investigate what was going on, and they were like, no, it's real. This is real. And I was so excited by that, you know. I was like, what? This is amazing. And I had seen their campaign with Marshall Major Taylor. And, you know, this is a great cyclist from the 1900s. And the fact that they were ready to honor somebody else who may have a little known story, who they felt really needed to be told. And I was amazed. It was like a blessing.
I love to see that too. And how did you feel when you saw all the finished commercials?
Gorgeous, excellent. You know, I got a chance to go to Mexico City and work on the commercials firsthand. So, you know, I've never been a part of a commercial process being made, right? It's like, and then it's about me. I was in there with 150 people in a park in Mexico City, and I'm looking around like, oh, these people are here to tell my story. This is extraordinary.
You were nervous, right? Because you always have a bunch of crowds of people watching you.
Nah, it's not like that exactly. But no, I mean, I do commentary, so I know people are always listening and watching in. But to have a commercial made about you that's going to air like on TV like that, and then, I mean, that's different. That's a very different experience. And the fact that they were honoring something that I had done, to say that they felt like this was special enough that they wanted the world to know about it, and I was really moving.
Wow, that is moving. And speaking of Hennessy, of course, I forgot to ask you, what's your favorite Hennessy drink?
Well, I got to rep the Grandmaster because they made it in my honor, you know? So I told them, they were like, what do you want? I was like, listen, my roots are in Jamaica, so you just got to drop that ginger beer on the Henny and let's do it. So
I love ginger beer too.
Yeah, so it's a mix of ginger beer and Hennessy and then whatever you want to pop on top.
That is good. And now chess is just like a metaphor for life, really, too. You know, you have to be steps ahead of your opponent. You have to be in tune with what's coming, prepared for it. So, like, what life skills has chess also taught you?
Wow, you don't have the hours and hours for me to even get deep into that, really. Seriously. You know, chess is an extraordinary game. It's been around for 1,500 years for a reason. There are a lot of things that come and go, but it's a part and a metaphor for human culture. That's why it's been around for so long, because in some ways it just maps on the human mind really well. It speaks to, as you mentioned, planning. It speaks to foresight. For me, one of the most important skills it speaks to is thinking of what the other person is thinking, seeing the world from the other person's viewpoint. We live in a divided society, frankly, where people are at odds with each other instead of coming together to be able to understand how the other person sees the world. And chess demands that you do that when you play. If I don't know what you're trying to do, how you're trying to checkmate me, you know, what are your ideas, what are your plans or the attack? If I don't know that, and I'm just all about myself, or I'm trying to do this, this, and that, I'm going to lose because you're going to surprise me time and time again. So it's my responsibility as a chess player to really study your intentions, your plans, your strategies, your ideas, so that I can combat it properly. And it's that kind of insight into the other person's thinking, their psychology, that allows us as grandmasters to really approach a situation well. And for me, that's actually the biggest lesson. Anybody asks me, it's like, that's always the biggest lesson, because it works whether or not you're talking about competition, politics, business, but also just day to day. You know, if you're with your significant other and all you want to say is, this is my idea, this is what I'm about, and you're not listening to them, then you're not going to have a good relationship. So that's what chess, to me, is the deepest teacher, because it has that deep application of life where you can say, look, I can see from the other person's viewpoint. I can see where they're coming from, where they're right, where they may be misguided, where they may be not understanding what I'm saying. So for that reason and many others, chess is just a deep teacher for the game of life.
I love that too. I love that. And your story is so inspiring too, again, but is there anyone whose story inspired you?
Oh, I'm so inspired by people, it's not even funny. I think that we're all role models. Everybody I see the light in them. And I think we all represent the world in our small corner. You know, some people are bigger than others. So we might have light of fame on them, and they have an opportunity, a blessing really, to influence more people. But I don't care how small you are, in your tiny world, you can influence those people around you, your family, your friends. So to me, I'm so inspired by everybody. I'm inspired by my children. You know, just the fact that they're doing their thing. I'm inspired by my brothers and sisters, my parents, the sacrifices my mother made in order to come to this country. She left us in Jamaica with my grandmother. I'm inspired by my grandmother. She was 64 when she started taking care of her daughter's 3 children. And the fortitude to spend 10 years of your elderly years taking care of your daughter's children. I mean, that's strength and sense of purpose that I could never thank her enough for. And, you know, she's passed now, but she inspires me tremendously. And like I said, my mother, who had to be away from her children for 10 years, the intimacy that she lost, those formative years. I was 2 years old when she left. My sister was 7 months old when she left. So that was really hard on the family, on her. My pops, who turned his life around because he was into some negative stuff, and then he completely flipped that script and then brought himself together and was able to be a father to us later on. You know, those are the people I think are the strongest bonds in my life that inspire me. Outside of that, there are people like Arthur Ashe and Jackie Robinson, who I looked up to because they were trailblazers, and they suffered more difficulties than I ever could imagine, especially Jackie Robinson, that I could ever imagine, you know. So to me, I'm standing on the shoulders of giants.
Were there any difficulties for you, like throughout navigating in the chess world? Did you ever experience anything?
Yeah, you know, people didn't expect to see a brother, you know, from Brooklyn, growing up in Brooklyn, come into the fancy chess clubs and show that you had skills. They would see us and think we're hustlers, you know, like we didn't have polished skills in game. There were people who thought we were just there trying to win some money and to hustle them. And it took some time for them to realize, I'm about whipping your ass. Let's get it on the board. This is real, you know? Yeah. So that was the case. He did snide remarks. I was beating on one guy once, an international master, and a grandmaster walked in, and he was a venerable grandmaster. Like, people knew this cat from way back to Bobby Fischer days, 50s, 60s, 70s. And he looked at the guy I was beating, who he knew was a known player. And he looked at me, and he looked back at the guy and said, "You letting this Schwarzer beat you?" A Schwarzer is a Yiddish term, basically, you know, meaning derogatory term for Black people. And he was like, "You letting this Schwarzer beat you?" And the guy was like, "What?" You know, and the whole room went silent because we were just playing, and people were enjoying it. And then here comes this guy who says that. But then I got the chance to play him twice. And yeah, he found out what it was like.
Got that beating 2 times.
Exactly. So, you know, I try to talk with my game more than anything. And, you know, the struggle is real, but we got to keep on going. We have to thrive. More than just survive, we have to thrive.
Definitely. And you mentioned your children too a little earlier. Are they also playing chess?
My kids are not into chess. I taught them, of course, but there's a belief in my family that the light that's inside you comes out in its own way. It's manifested. Like I said, my brother's a kickboxer. My sister's a boxer, myself a chess player. My daughter is a filmmaker. That's her thing. That's what she's into in screenwriting. And my son is an artist, graphic artist. So he's doing his thing. And the beauty for me is I learn from them. You know, they're in worlds that I have no idea about. So when they're starting to talk to me about their stuff, and I was like, wow, this is fascinating. Yeah. Good thing you weren't doing chess, because the traffic would all be one way in the convo, you know? So it was great that they could come and teach me stuff. And now I'm going into art museums, seriously. I didn't go into any of that when I was a kid, but now I go to art museums and I see something and I take a picture and send it to my son. He's like, yeah, I know about that. You know, check out this, and that. It's like, it's beautiful, man. So the important thing was to let the children find their own watermark, if you will, their own passion, their own destiny. And I think that's beautiful.
I love that. You said your daughter's in film too. Okay, so now I have to say your story is amazing. Your daughter has to be involved when they do a film about you. And who would you want to play you as a teenager and as a grown man if you had when you get your own film?
Look, I really don't have an answer to these two questions. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Nobody?
I know. I mean, the honor is so real, what you just said, that if that ever happened, as long as they can act and they're good looking, I don't care.
You're like,
I'm
just
good.
someone who could be half as good looking as me and we're all good there.
I'm just saying, as long, just make me look good. That's all I want. I really don't have any answer to that question.
Okay, gotcha. And last question. I saw that recently you were doing a virtual chess match with some Wu-Tang family, right?
Yeah, just in the RZA, baby. What's up?
Wow. So first of all, who was the better player between both of them? Both of them, yeah.
I'm not gonna call them out like that. Come on, man. They're supposed to be my boys.
Well, those are your boys now, yeah.
I knew them from before. It wasn't the first time I met them. So I've played them before, but they were gracious in coming and actually participating with us. So that was a lot of fun for us to do.
Yeah. So does hip hop play any part in like your chess game? Do you have any like special songs or anything you'd like to listen to before you get ready?
I would say no. I would say no. I grew up with hip hop. I'm a lot older than you. So I grew up in the beginning of hip hop and going through time with it. So for me, what hip hop is energy, right? It's pop. It's a certain kind of swag, a certain kind of confidence, right? That you bring from where you came from and bring it to whatever you do. And hip hop speaks to that. It speaks to it being real. And the way I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn. And BK, when I grew up, was real. Not like today, the gentrified BK, where you can get your Starbucks and your latte. It wasn't. No. I'm talking about Brownsville, never ran, never will, or do or die Bed-Stuy, where I am right now. So I grew up in the real, what we call the real Brooklyn. And for us, hip hop represents the voice of the streets. And I grew up playing chess in the parks, on the streets, with the cats, playing music. They were playing hip hop and soul and jazz while we were playing chess and trash talking the whole time. So all of that energy and that vibe it represents. And so I feel like I'm a child of that, a product of that generation, that energy, that music. And I try to bring some of that trash talk into my commentary, and sometimes when I'm just streaming online and just talking trash to people, I have fun.
It's nothing wrong with some healthy trash talk. And finally,
Not
this
at
is
all.
my last question before I let you go. What's your next move? What else do you have going on so everybody can know?
Well, directly with Hennessy, we're doing some wonderful things around untold stories, they're doing this great unfinished business campaign. But the big thing that we're doing, My Wild Rabbit, Hennessy speaks to never stop, never settle. And My Wild Rabbit has always been to represent our people in ways that people don't expect, right? So we know we're great athletes, we know we're great entertainers in music biz, et cetera. But people don't really talk about Black people of color, as great intellectuals, great scientists, great engineers, mathematicians, and the like. And we have that kind of representation. So the big project, Hennessy, when I told them that's something that's near and dear to my heart, they said, well, we want to help you with that. And so we're going to come out with a campaign that starts to highlight some of those representatives in the community to start showcasing our talents that go way beyond the box that we've been put in. And so I'm excited to see where that goes. Community can bring together all these stars that are untold, invisible in some ways, but should be much more prominent. And so I'm really looking forward to getting that initiative going and just show the world. We represent in so many different ways. We got diversity beyond diversity in terms of our skill sets. And that's something that's entertaining and enjoyable and gratifying, really, really gratifying that I'm able to participate with Hennessy in such a wonderful campaign.
Absolutely. And you're a great spokesperson for Hennessy. They got a great pick.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I don't have my Hennessy here with me, but virtually toast to you. And I appreciate you so much for taking the time out tonight. Definitely.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you for having me. It's been an honor.